Welcome to the It's About Time Writers Reading Series. This is the 1-year anniversary of our going online. Our first couple months, we had several different incarnations, but ever since the Seattle Public Library, our partner, stepped up, we have been doing much better. I want to let you know, for anybody new who's joining us as well, that this event is being recorded. The names can be removed later to protect your privacy. The library is wonderful about that. This is reading number 377 in our 31st or 32nd year. It started in 1990. So we are definitely one of the oldest continuous writing series, at least multi-genre, that's been in the Seattle area. I'm very pleased tonight to welcome 3 writers and to invite several of you to participate in the 3-minute open mic. Our readers tonight will be Cynthia Orr, Jacqueline Jaye Ware, and CJ Dudley. It's wonderful to have you all here to the It's About Time Writers Reading Series. So, I have not met any of our readers in person, to my recollection, but I am starting to already feel familiar with you from various readings over the course of the last year. Before I introduce them, I'd like to just also send a big shout out to the ultimate friend of the Writers Series, Geo Levin, who is normally would be right in the front, sitting next to Carol. And if he could be, he would be. And I know that he would be looking at me encouragingly the whole time, as he always does. I'd also like to just share my joy with the selection of Renata Priest as the new Washington State Poet Laureate. I had the good fortune of first seeing her, read with Sylvia at Jack Straw, and also then at an Open Books Emporium reading on, I think, a very stormy night, and then also as part of a Jack Straw night at the It's About Time Writers Reading Series. So always delightful, and I am so happy to see that recognition and to look forward to what she'll be doing during her tenure. So our first reader tonight is Cynthia Orr. Cynthia was a professional storyteller specializing in programs for adults. After 10 years of full-time touring and telling, she became a mental health counselor. Now retired, she is writing a series of essays on her encounters with art and beauty. She is an avid traveler and poker player. Cynthia.
Thank you, Peggy. And I want to thank you for all the work you do to keep this program going. The Seattle Public Library. And also, I want to thank the New York Times. I submitted an essay to them for the Modern Love column on my relationship to art and beauty, and they rejected it. And I kept thinking. And finally, I decided, well, I just need to write a whole bunch of essays and develop the ideas that were in that essay I sent them. So, shout out to them. This first piece is called Lightning in a Bottle. I had just moved into an apartment and was trying to repair a floor lamp. I turned the light off, but I didn't unplug it from the wall. I grabbed a knife and cut the wire. The speed and force of electricity screaming through the wire was astonishing. The charge blew a hole in the knife blade, knocked the knife from my hand, and lit me up. I prowl museums for this electricity. I'm on the hunt for something powerful enough to stop me mid-stride, to rivet my attention, to jolt me past ordinary reality. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. When it does, it's delicious. At first glance, Bruegel's painting gives no warning. The bucolic scene he painted in 1565 appears quite straightforward. The harvesters presents peasants at work and rest in a wheat field. We see a canvas roughly 4 feet by 5, suffused in a soft gold tinged with brown. The gorgeous gold is wheat, stacked upright in triangular sheaves or still standing, waiting to be harvested. A large tree bisects the canvas, roughly dividing the scene. In the segment on the right of the tree, a group of 8 men and women sit, eating and drinking. One of the peasants is breaking a loaf of bread, bread made of wheat, possibly grown in this very field. The peasants on the left side of the tree are hard at work, trudging along a path or harvesting the wheat. Nowhere is there obvious conflict or tension. The surface of the painting is ordinary. We even get glimpses of distant buildings and in the far distance, a bay. Yet, something is off. It was irritating and nagging. I was determined to understand and refused to move on to the next canvas. Painters not only see the world, they study the mechanics of vision and the way we see. They use that knowledge to manipulate us. So I focused on the way the painting took command of my eyes and where it led. Bruegel was a master. He made sure the peasant asleep or passed out under the tree was prominently displayed. The painter presents us with a man spread eagle on his back. The peasant's crotch may not be the precise focal point of the painting, but it's close enough. Now, I am really confused. This is not a painting about sex. There is no hint of sexual interest or intrigue among the peasants. No one is touching anyone, but something is happening. I puzzled more, and suddenly the images began to twirl and swarm up in a torrent, hitting my eyes. They are coming so fast I can't process all of them. The triangular shapes in the painting loom up, practically clamoring. The wheat is stacked in triangular teepees, and each has its own triangular opening. Each branch of the tree begins with a fork, and each forking branch creates more triangles, and the leafy foliage of the tree is redolent with triangles. The house in the background with a steep A-shaped roof offers another one. Even the women in the distance, bent over to the earth, suggest triangular shapes. To the left of the tree, on the same side of the tree as the spread eagle peasant, there is a large arresting shape. Part of the wheat field actually forms a thick, long arrow. Its size and mass dwarf the peasant walking in front of it. It is discomforting. It is aimed out of the canvas, almost at me. I am no longer analyzing the painting, pondering male and female symbols. I am not thinking about the lush fecundity of the earth. No, a bolt of energy hits my heels and screams up the length of my legs, moves through my torso and hits the top of my head. I am infused and shaking with the same energy that drives the growth of the wheat. I am radiant with Dylan Thomas's force that through the green fuse drives the flower. Peter Bruegel didn't represent the vast force that fuels the cosmos as torrential rains and gale force winds. No, he so meticulously crafted a masterpiece that unleashes it. He delivers a straight shock of the energy that animates the universe. Electricity in a wire, lightning in a bottle. This is called But It Isn't Beautiful. It is true, not all art is beautiful. Some is discordant, remarkably harsh, and flat out, but ugly. A painting of a sickening reality, a man about to be gutted by a bayonet, shouldn't be pretty. Artists' refusal to restrict themselves to beauty is a beautiful act. Naming the ugly is a gift of generosity and compassion. It is a refreshing offset to well-meaning people who want us to sugarcoat and paint over ugly realities. Denying ugliness doesn't make it vanish. It weakens our capacity to deal with it. I remember standing in front of a Van Gogh painting. I do not remember which museum, and I do not remember which painting. What is burned into my brain is the lower right-hand corner of a huge canvas. At the sight of the seething, chaotic snarl of ivy, the pores on my forearms opened. I knew I was looking at a rabid and manic image created by a manic mind. I'm not just talking about Van Gogh's mind. I'm talking about my own. I had touched a manic state, and it was one of the scariest times in my life. I escaped that place of too many, too fast, never-ending thoughts. That painting documented my experience. It was a validation and a caution that moved across time. It was a blinking light. Stay away, dumbass. Do not go back to the wild ivy. Compare that conversation with Van Gogh to a conversation you had with a friend when an intense and troubling emotion was upon you. If the conversation became an attempt to deny and downplay your reality, or if the subject was suddenly changed, you were left feeling much, much worse. God bless Van Gogh. Full on, he showed us a diseased mind, and we are richer for it. A spectacularly horrific painting is Goya's Saturn devouring his sun. This huge and monster Saturn rips into our field of vision. He's an oozy, brown, barely defined form. He is holding his sun. Saturn is eating him. The head is already gone. Part of the left arm is missing. Saturn's eyes bulge. His mouth gapes. He is ready for another bite. The description of this painting, which you just heard, takes some seconds of time to hear and process. The painting lands on you immediately. There is no way to protect yourself from the gut punch. It stopped me cold when I saw it 53 years ago. I gasped. And it wasn't just the painting. I gasped because I recognized my father. The painting said, yes, he really is that way. My father kept a tight leash on his rage, but it was there, it was scary, and worse than that, it was never, ever acknowledged. It was such a relief to have it named by Goya. Ugly as it was, the secret was out. It is easier to breathe when you aren't pretending. I felt such gratitude to Goya. I have no idea about the Saturns in his life, the terrors and great fears. I do know this. He summoned the skill and the courage to study and depict something awful. He modeled the sound approach. Study, learn, prepare yourself. It helps. About 5 years after this encounter with Goya, I listened as my father slid into an unbridled, racist rant. As he had aged, those dark spaces had gotten worse, and the spew that evening was hopelessly vile. It was shocking. It went on, and it could have been debilitating. But I did not freeze. My nervous system had been prepared by Goya. He had warned me. I am lucky and grateful he did. you. I would like to close with a very, very brief little piece. If I were God. If I were God, I would read the 10 Commandments and laugh. My laughter would ring out, split sequoias and royal oceans. Moses, that poor schlub, he didn't come close to getting it right. Let's just leave it at that. If I were God, I would have one care. As the newly dead came before me, I'd wait for fear to subside. Then, slowly, I would lean forward and gently ask, in your life, did you add to the beauty of the world? Thank you.
Thank you, Cynthia. I have to say, I'm sure there's many of us who could be part of the Modern Love Rejects Club. But to my good fortune, I actually was able to then have a piece published in Modern Love Rejects, but you had to show your rejection. That wasn't hard. I believe Alison Eckles now. I'm going to meet Cynthia and have Alison unmute for open mic.
Well, first, thank you to everyone who's here and to Peggy and to the Seattle Public Library for hosting this event. I'm going to read two pieces that I wrote years ago, and they may fit into a larger piece I'm working on. Thank you for letting me do a test drive. Spirit and body, time and space. When we begin to recognize that we are spirit, things begin to make sense. There is so much more that we know beyond what our intellect can fathom. Our mind cannot measure infinity, yet infinity is real. As spirit, we cannot tie our shoelaces. We need hands and feet and shoes and laces. With pen in hand, we compose to-do lists for the day. As spirit, we can envision each item on the list accomplished. When we begin to work with our body's realities of time and space, everything seems to take so much longer than we expected. The phone may ring, the weather may not cooperate with our plans. We measured wrong, and the piece of wood does not fit. We counted wrong, and we do not have enough. Or we counted correctly, but then we made mistakes with one or two pieces and are left with not enough. Our emotions get in the way. They get louder when we shout, "Don't bother me. I don't have time to feel you. Can't you see I'm busy?" If we expect our bodies to be able to do everything in the blink of an eye, we become hard on ourselves, when really, that was how much time was needed all along to accomplish in body what spirit envisioned so easily. This next one I call Writing, a Physical Act, My Commitment. I started a notebook in 2011 at the beginning of my writing journey, and I wrote about renting my little house on Northwest 43rd Street. After writing it, I made this note. This all flows so clearly and instantaneously in my head, usually even sounds a bit witty. I have told it so often in my head, getting it onto paper was clumsy at best. I hadn't connected until now. Writing is a physical act, a bringing of thoughts, stories, ideas into the body and onto the page. It's just like any other thing we choose to manifest in physical reality. It takes time and space. No hand can write as swiftly as spirit tells the story, conveys the images. I must be content to work at this, to have faith that I will sustain my ideas until they reach the page. I must have patience and the willingness to work, to write and rewrite, to tolerate editors and critics, readers, friends, and loved ones. There is clearly a gestation period following conception, and I, as author, may not know everything about the child I hope to give birth to.
It's my weekly honor to have Alison at my Cancer Lifeline Writing for the Moment table and to have been watching her evolution as a writer. That also Sylvia Pollack, who will be one of our featured readers next month, along with Alison Green and E. Lily Yu. Sylvia was a lifetime writer and came back from a trip to Antarctica, as she put it, ready to write. And luckily somebody told her about our Writing for the Moment table, because as she often puts it, she likes to kind of feed on the blood of others, a vampire writer. She doesn't need us, but it's fun for her to write with us. So it's been a wonderful place, and I encourage you all to check out, if you know anybody who's going through a cancer journey or as a caretaker, there are a gazillion programs. So we welcome all there, and writers and non-writers. Our next reader is Jacqueline Jaye Ware. She said I could, use all her names. She didn't say I could use none of them, all or none. She is a long-standing member of the African American Writers Alliance, which has an incredible new website. They're rocking it these days. Anyway, she's a poet, spoken word artist, and playwright. Jaye has performed at libraries, schools, town hall, museums, including Tacoma, Northwest African American, and Seattle Art Museum, art galleries, bookstores, including Elliott Bay, and on Camano and Vashon Islands. Her filmed on-location play can be viewed on YouTube, you'll have to say this for me, Menreva Labs, Madison Park Bench, and her filmed hip-hop pandemic stage play, COVID Dreams, is available on demand at vimeo.com, on demand, Pandemic Plays COVID Dreams. Her motto, words have power, use them wisely and in moderation. Welcome, Jaye.
Thank you so much, Peggy. I'm truly pleased to participate. And the first thing I have to say, other than thanking you, Peggy, this is great, is that Cynthia, that was excellent. Thank you so much for your readings. They were so emotional, your pieces, and I was truly touched. And I wanted you to know that. So this is a sunny day, and some people that might show up on Zoom are not showing up because it's a sunny day. And we don't get sunny days in spring very often back to back. So I can understand why some people would prefer to be out there soaking up that vitamin D. As you'll notice in my bio that I read and write social justice and injustice poetry. There's just so much going on around the world that's unjust in so many different ways. It's just unreal to me. And so some of it can be kind of dark, but I try to lighten it up so that you can tolerate it, you can stomach it, you can handle it, you can deal with it, so it's not so challenging. And that's kind of what Cynthia did. Yeah, some of her stuff was dark, but it was so beautifully written that you could handle it. Also, another thing that I do is that I write children's stories and poetry. So now that's really lighthearted. So that gets me out of that sad, melancholy mood. All right, the first piece that I'm going to read, it'll start small and then it'll enlarge. The first piece is called Compost. And you just have to really kind of think about this, what it might mean to you. Because it has a couple of meanings. But a lot of times as writers, we know exactly what it's about, but as listeners, you have to think it through. Compost. In the spring, the first time he claimed I tripped and fell, told not to tell, the magnolia tree was in full bloom. In autumn, leaves were falling, swept into a bend with dustpan and broom on Thursday. On Thursday, a commercial composting facility received grass clippings, leaves, branches, plant trimmings, and allowed to rot. The season ended. My garden was free of any invasive species. End poem. The next one is called a Black poem. A Black poem. Let the world sing a sweet chariot song in the range of a Black poem. Sing it baritone, tenor, soprano, alto, but sing it with purpose strong. Let the world dance an elegant Black poem choreographed by Alvin Ailey, dynamic, graceful, vibrant, tap dancing with precision on wood. Like Bill Bailey, let the world be a Black poem. Behind closed doors or in a boisterous crowd, be brilliant, bright, colorful, shamelessly bold and proud. Let the world laugh. Let the world laugh, a Black poem deep down in your throat. Laugh it loud, laugh at anything that floats your boat, and let that world quote. A Black poem with the rich metaphors of Nikki Giovanni, Maya Angelou, dripping honey in the rock, others following in their footsteps, taking stock. Let the world breathe in a Black poem from the rich, breathtaking green valleys, lows to the magnificent Shanghai Tower. Let the world vote for a Black poem. Voter suppression, a faint memory dead and long gone. Let the world embody a Black poem, moving in rhythm, emotion seeping through every pore, the continent beating in unison, hearts move to the very core. Let the world bloom a fragrant Black poem, roses, orchids, a Black iris, and delicate tulips, suggesting peace, harmony, and lingering bliss. Let the world throb, a Black poem, whispering healing before the pulse fades, where there will be no more poems to recite, read, or say. End poem. As was mentioned by Peggy, that I perform spoken word, Cynthia, you'll like this, by going to art galleries. They might have an opening and viewing the art, and then writing a piece in response to the art. This is one of those pieces. It's called Mustard Seeds. Anytime I go to an art gallery and I see a picture, a painting of children or older, elderly, seniors, seasoned members of society, I am drawn to that. So this was a painting of a little girl's head with lots of curls. And in those curls, it said, when they buried us, they didn't know we were seeds. Here we go, mustard seeds. When they buried us, they didn't know we were seeds, mustard seeds of little girls sprouting wild curls, unable to soar with a flock of wild women who changed the world. When they buried us, they did not know. They did not know we were seeds. They could have not known we were Black mustard seeds from the Middle East, full of promise, the promise of little girls with wild curls ready to bloom into the hope of wild women who changed the world. When they buried us. When they buried us, they refused to believe we were seeds. Brown mustard seeds, Himalayan little girls with wild curls, with the power and potential to become strong, wild women who changed the world. When they buried us, rich nutrients, soil tilled to receive healing mustard seeds of little girls with wild curls of breaking ground, stretching into the sky to touch the scars of wild women who nourished and replenished the world when they buried us. The earth warmed and protected the medicinal mustard seeds of little girls with wild curls, becoming the ghosts of wild women who dared question the world when they buried us. They minimized the importance of pods containing mustard seeds of little girls with frizzy curls, a future leadership and influence as wild, fearless women who changed the world when they buried us, when they buried us, when they buried us. They buried seeds of light, darkening the world void of little girls with wild, unruly curls, innocent, wide-eyed spirits, hearts of gold. A crying mother will never hold, future untold of afro braids and dreadlocks playing in the park, running inside after dark, climbing trees, breaking leaves, becoming pollen, faith, and the nectar for honeybees who changed the world. End poem. Okay, so moving on, this is called Voice. Voice. And it was written at the request of an organization who wanted me to write something about women. And I had never written anything really about women. I'm like, okay, let me see what I can do. So it's just called Voice. There's nothing more calming, nurturing than the tender touch of a woman's voice, soft, humming, rocking you back and forth to sleep, voices of comfort when a friend is in despair, offering solace, a sense of peace, the peace. The peace in a woman's voice is vulnerable, holding hurt inside, finding a quiet place to hide, releasing a flood of emotions, breaking down in a truly good cry. That voice crying out, welding a wrecking ball in anger and rage when you step out, caught in a stuttering lie, cascading in screams, praying the death of a loved one was some kind of joke. A cruel, twisted dream, not joking with a stern voice that can cut you to the core in a heartbeat. Have you lost your mind? Who do you think you're talking to? Seeping out of every pore, pivoting to a sultry, silky, smooth as honey tone when desires demand so much more by dripping honey in rich blues, gospel, country, and all that jazz crying out, sing that song, girl, tap dancing as fast as you can to a world of pressures and unreasonable demands, shouting, marching for women's rights, equal pay, respect, and dignity deserved by every woman and man, a forceful voice, strongly held beliefs, rallying against workplace violence, safety in the streets, relief from abusers, inflicting unwarranted harassment and grief-stricken. These grief-stricken women voices healing in her raucous laughter, rising from deep within the gut, dancing on dusty floors, shaking, swaying in the room, jubilant, a succulent flower in full bloom, holding a bouquet of flowers in the stands on the football and baseball field. There is that's my child's sweeter sound than the voice of a mom cheering and encouraging from the sidelines. White roses, those white roses of scenes from Private Ryan, a soldier blown apart when he touched down with a knees suffocating on the ground. A mother's loving, consoling voice and prayer kissing away tears. The last thought held to the breast. So comforting, so precious, so dear. And a woman's no nonsense, yet forgiving voice has the power of a rumbling, restless, gushing wind. Lightning strikes from the sky, patiently battling storms, the serenity of a calm sea, calling to the heavens from the branches of the sacred fig, giant sequoia trees, calling out to sisters flying by, hollering encouragement, her warm breath blowing beneath our wings, our positive affirmations, our sweet, holy water for nourishment. End poem. Thank you. And then I moved to the longest one that I gotta do real fast. I'm gonna do this real fast. So, of course, we had Black History Month, we had Martin Luther King, and now, of course, we've got the Women's March and Women's Month, and then we have April Poetry Month. So I got to go all the way back to Martin Luther King. So the question usually is, what would King do? What would King do? What would King do? Well, clearly, his life was clear in terms of what he would do in certain situations. So this is called, so now we need to have this interview. So this is called the interview. The interview. It was long overdue, excited by the thought. Interviewing an icon, a historical figure that brought legal system to their knees and transit systems to a stop. So many questions and emotions invaded his mind, the interviewer could not help but feel anxious by the pressure, and he began to opine. Am I the right one? Will I ask all that needs to be said? Should I wait for a better day, a different time instead? Grabbing his pen and pad, as electronics were not permitted inside, he was prepared as possible to avoid Boondocks version, ensuring his interview avoided all aspersions. The king gestured for him to come sit with him by a soothing lake flowing with milk and honey, as golden flakes gently drifted down, blackening the road, sparkling shiny like freshly fallen snow. The interviewer gave homage to King, praising him for virtually everything: the Montgomery bus boycott, March on Washington, prayer at the Pettus Bridge, beatings, being jailed, unable to be present for his wife and kids. The interviewer had a job to do and hoped he would do it well. Thus he began his questions, searching for responses to silence, the endless debates, lifting, pulling aside the curtain, setting the record straight. Knowing all of his famous quotes, the interviewer began to speak, intending to provide the context and closure man has continued to seek. Dr. King, he said, and I quote, "The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. You also said an individual has not started living until he can rise above the narrow confines of his individualistic concerns to the broader concerns of all humanity. In addition, you quoted, and I do want to quote, he who passively accepts evil is as much involved in it as he who perpetuates it. He who accepts evil without protesting against it is really cooperating with it. And finally, Dr. King, you have said we may all come on different ships, but we're in the same boat now." So, Dr. King, if I might ask, what would you do today about environmental irresponsibility? As an ultimate measure of a man, I would kneel, even if uncomfortable and inconvenient, as the health of the environment is one's responsibility. Thank you so much, Dr. King. And what would you do today about rampant homelessness and abject poverty? For the broader concern of all humanity, I would kneel, asking for wisdom to feed the people and house the homeless. Thank you, Dr. King. And what would you do today about ongoing racism, discrimination, and injustice? In times of challenges and controversy, I would kneel and continue to love with nonviolent resistance. Thank you, Dr. King. And if you would answer this, what would you do today about rising police brutality against African Americans? Not one to passively accept evil. I would kneel, as I have also experienced brutality. Well then, Dr. King, please answer this question. What would you do today about alleged harassment, unequal pay, and disrespect towards women in the workforce? To rise above the narrow confines of individual concerns, I would kneel and stand with them as I stood with Rosa Parks. Then, Dr. King, we have constant shootings in this country, and what would you say today about the proliferation of guns? It is always right to do what is right. I would rightfully kneel as violence begets violence. And as a minister, a preacher, a reverend, then Dr. King, what would you do today about the absence of prayer in schools and the lack of faith or even a belief in the existence of God in the lives of over half the American population? On behalf of our doubt and unbelief, I would kneel and pray for all to find what they truly seek. Well, Dr. King, you did kneel with others on the Pedersen Bridge. What would you say today about the kneeling controversy concerning the national anthem? Refusing to cooperate with evil in solidarity and unity, I would kneel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I only have one other question. What would you say to the people? What would you say to the people after hearing Trump call all Mexicans rapists, referring to Haiti and African nations as shitholes, and describing Kim Jong-un as a lunatic, loser, madman, and little rocket man? The brilliant orator, reverend, compassionate, and selfless humanitarian, Nobel Peace Prize winner was imperfect. But he cared deeply without reservation for the well-being and fair treatment of all human beings. With that, he said, I would kneel, praying with others that although we came on different boats, we all are on the same dark, dank, hostile, violent, and tormented slave ship now, where no chickens have come home to roost. From his second floor apartment, he woke as the clock began to ring, light breaking through the night, shining on his balcony, a pad and pen in hand, specks of gold on his pillow, unsure if the interview was real or if he had just had a dream. In peace, thank you.
Thank you so much, Jaye. I had the good fortune to have Jaye read open mic at the when the African American writers were reading, and convinced her to come back for. Didn't take a lot of convincing, but I'm very happy you're here tonight. It was all stunning. Your piece, a Black poem, reminded me that the Ballard Library is doing a lovely thing. Talk about the different months. They're combining Poetry Month with all African American women poets.
Wow.
So I was there today, and I had meant to look for a picture of a friend of mine, and they were putting poems in each book when you pick them up, and that reminded me. And the windows that normally would be the windows that survive, that surround the conference room, are covered with photos and samples of poems. And so I sent a picture to my friend Glenda West. I said, no pressure, you're right above Nikki Giovanni, and you're next to Maya Angelou. And he says, well, is Colleen McElroy there? I'm like, I haven't had a chance to absorb them all. It's wonderful. So if you have a chance, what a wonderful way to combine things. And a big shout out to the incredible librarians. I was a little confused when the librarian kind of called me back, and I'm like, hey. And he says, yeah, the librarians are having so much fun doing this. And they keep scribbling more things every day. I'm like, scribbling? And then I realized they're decorating. If it turns out that I don't share everything on my computer, I have a photo, because what they've been doing is, in between these beautiful photos of the women and some of their poems and the books below, they've also been drawing, flowers and different things on all the window things. So they're going to keep adding to it throughout the month of April. So, and I will look and see if Colleen McElroy is there. She definitely should be. I saw Audre Lorde, Maya Angelou, and a poet I hadn't heard of, who I'll be checking out, Warsan Shire, was on the same page as right below Glenda and Nikki. So, Well, with that, I have received a couple people willing to do the open mic, and so I'm happy to introduce Asia Renee. I hope you're here and able to join us. And thank you again, Jacqueline.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Asia Renee. I'm also a member of AWA. So I'm just going to get right to it since I have 3 minutes. This first piece is called Leaning on Me. I'll be your friend. Lean on me. When you can't walk, I'll crawl with you, inch by inch through the depressively dark days, months, or years. When fears consume you, I'll sing to ease your tension. Real friends listen and hear you out, even when giggles and smiles elude you. Invisible within the scope of the white gaze, spit shine your confidence and know that you are the inspiration of rulers and deities, of nations and globes and other galaxies. We are trendsetters in every space we enter. Funky, out the box, urban to rural. We are the litmus and the muse. Psychedelics in motion. We are the potion we've been hoping for to cure the maladies that plague our souls. When we grow older, who wants to look back and lament a wasted life? As long as there is tomorrow, it can get better. We can survive and be real friends to kinfolk. And if you ain't got no real friends, be the rock formation in your corner until the heavens open to receive you. We owe it to us to just try. End poem. Thank you. This next piece is called Boned Corsets. To him, to them, we are just masses bastards, stocks to market. Byproducts of violence, the stains of my mother's dresses are imprinted like footprints on my face. Shame weighs me, the scarlet in Jezebel's letters branded on my neck, my navel, my thighs. Lies gaslit the rapes. My ancestors were women who could settle earthquakes, who shielded young eyes and blessed seeds to grow amidst their storms. Women who broke the molds from which they were crafted, limited edition heroes without capes. We must remember not to forget that bravery and vulnerability are co-conspirators, echoing in a hollow dance, whirling like tornadoes inside their chests beneath the steely-eyed gaze they stared down their whipcrackers with, resolved in knowing, like proud mountains refusing to bow. End poem. Thank you.
I'm so glad. I was saying how exciting it is when, especially online right now, people invite more people and then we get acquainted. So you must come back and read longer for us and be a featured reader. So whatever you see, like if you can see my name, you just take Peggy Sturdivant, you add Gmail and contact me and we'll schedule you. It's so great to meet new people. I think, and I'll double check after we hear from CJ, that Minnie is also going to do the open mic. Yes, exactly. And thank you so much for Asia for a little bit of song, because Jay was asking CJ if he was going to sing. And perhaps he'll be inspired. So I'd now like to welcome CJ Dudley. And it's my good fortune to have him recruited by Jacqueline so that we had a chance to meet tonight. He was born and raised in Seattle. He's an accomplished singer, songwriter, poet, author, actor, painter, and clothing designer, who I also learned, unfortunately, also has a day job. Writing his first song at the age of 14, he would soon come to realize his natural gift for creating melodies and witty punchlines. As he began to gain more experience with the highs and lows of life, new creative avenues were birthed, which allowed him to be able to express himself through means other than just music. Welcome, CJ.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Good evening, everybody. So I'm a little different. I am just I'm kind of the definition of extra whenever the camera's on. You know what I mean? So I like to perform mine, and I can't really read out loud that good. I'm just be honest with you. I'm not a good out loud reader, guys. So I'm gonna try to do some things now. This first piece that I'm gonna do is called "What's Your View?" Now, I gotta be honest, with this whole COVID thing going on, I have done a few online things, but I used to beat the street. I would go out and I would hit the clubs, the music venues, the churches, anywhere and speak. I haven't done it in a year, like consistently. So excuse me if I'm a little rough or if I stumble. What does the American flag mean to you? I ask because I come to the realization that it means different things to different people. Now, I can admit, I was an impressionable child because under the government mandated Pledge of Allegiance in school, I was taught to believe underneath this flag, we're all equal. But the truth is, I see the injustice. This flag has no substance. Oh, you want my allegiance, but you can't be trusted. See, I'm distraught and disgusted. Minorities get dusted. A broken tail light leads to his chest looking like a hot dog busted. Now, I seen him ran an innocent man down. There was 6 cops on that. They snapped his spine in half like they was playing Mortal Kombat. Triggers get happy, bullets get excited to pierce the flesh of a black man, and they hoping we riot. See, because that's when they militarize themselves and then hit the blacktop. Shells flying everywhere like they work at the crab pot. Or what, you think I'm playing? Look it up on your laptop. A crackhead runs from a lazy cop, so we gave him a back shot. Bam! Now, I'm not just talking out the side of my neck here, okay? Because I have been through our justice system, okay? And I've seen it with my own eyes, the corruption of law. I'm talking officers, prosecutors, judges, and all. They play the game dirty, boy, they rough and they raw. I'm talking Tom Brady texting about deflating the ball, then going to the Super Bowl and winning it all. Unnecessary roughness against a defenseless player, man, they ain't making the call. See, the courts and the precinct go work in harmony at the same damn time. See, a cop sings an unarmed black man a lullaby, and the chorus comes in singing the same damn line. The officer is on paid leave while we gather the info. Well, now the forte is coming. I can hear the crescendo. We on the edge of our seats. We holding hands with our kinfolk, waiting to see if the choir can reach up to that last note. Then the finale happens. And for a split second, there's silence, no clapping. We just cannot fathom. We witnessed what happened, yet them facts somehow got past them. This little show that they do that they swear is so tight is the equivalent to Roseanne Arnold on the mic. Boo! Yeah, that concert was horrible. I need a break like a Kit Kat. I want my refund, some reparations, and a kickback. Your presentation was terrible, intonation irreparable. How can you be so insensible? This is obviously intentional. It must be nigga hunting season, and a badge is your license. You're allowed to hunt deer, rabbits, niggas, and bison. It's ironic we're such a threat to you. Oh, but you want us to see the best in you. The only difference is our skin tone. We the same as the rest of you. Yes, I'm upset. I'm pissed at the situation. See, minorities get treated like dirt in this country, but with Trump, there was a legitimate deliberation. And this unstable degenerate actually became president. Now look me square in my Zoom squared face and tell me he was America's best representative. Boy, he's spicy like jalapenos, icy like cappuccinos. We're gonna build a wall and keep out of the Latinos, and Mexico's gonna pay for it. Saw what happened there, right? Now, let's just forget for 1 second that those words came out of the mouth of one of the dumbest people we have in captivity. And let's just think about America without minorities. Ugh. I mean, the US without us? Well, that's shaky and hollow. I'm talking 9/11 cover-ups, bobbleheads, and gelato. See, it's the equivalent to you making a homemade taco, but skipping the meat, cheese, sour cream, avocado, tomato, the mole and horchata. With us missing, boy, you giving up the whole enchilada. The taters, the tatas, the salsa, and the cha-cha. Without minorities, you wouldn't know how to lambada. Excuses are caca, the repercussions are nada. Black bodies dumping faster than a bucket of water. You see, the streets are getting hotter, heating up like it's lava. Black men are targeted, no wonder we ain't got fathers. You see, it started with slavery. They called us the savages. They stole us, sold us, beat us, leaving families in ravages. Worked the black man to death just to build this economy. And I know what you're thinking. Slavery ended a long time ago. Get over it. Settle down, homie. Just follow me. Time for a history lesson. See, from 1865, from 1619 to 1865, it was the law of the land to rule over the black lives. Backs look like trees, blacks on their knees. They steal a mother from the child, then demanded some fees. Men, they castrated them. There was nothing they can say to them. If you even gave them a side eye, they cocked that shotgun and turned your dome to a stadium. See, then from 1865 to 1968, we had Jim Crow, lynch mobs, coercions, pinch jobs. Being black was a crime. Black Wall Street got the bomb squad. 4 little girls in a church that exploded. Emmett Till dragged from the river. His beaten body was bloated. It's gotta be noted that the system's corroded. From the inside out, the framework is eroded. Now, in the 80s was the war on drugs, which destroyed the black fabric. Battering rams running through communities causing havoc. See, understand this, they drove military-style tanks into people's houses just to eventually admit that we was on the wrong street. I mean, I could have thought this was the house. I saw drug dealers here last week. Now someone's home is reduced to rubble, crumbling under their feet. Meanwhile, First Lady Nancy Reagan smiling in the front seat. And now my people getting beat up, run down, hands up, gunned down. The officer feared for his life. Wasn't no gun found. And you look at me crazy when I say, hell no, I ain't calling the police up in here now. See, Kaepernick took a knee in the land of the free to peacefully speak out against injustice for people like me. See, but in order to change the subject and forget about the truth, they said he disrespected the military and looked down on the troops. I still don't understand how you got to that conclusion. I mean, he said nothing to that effect. Actually, he said the opposite. For the troops, he has the utmost respect. See, but that flag doesn't just represent the troops. It represents me too. Which takes me back to my original question. What's the American flag mean to you? See, some folks may see that flag differently because of things this country has put us through. So please, don't be upset if we can't see the sun rise on the same horizon as you. We may have a different view. I see it. Thank you. Woo! Struggled through that one. Okay. This next one, you know, I love to write. I love to those punchlines, the witty things, the things that shouldn't make sense, but somehow you weave them together. I love doing that, you know. And please, for those of you that have never seen me before, please do not take this as me being conceited or have big head energy, but I want to be great, okay? I am striving to be great, and on my way to being great, I'm going to say I'm great at this, if I believe it. There's some things I'm pretty trash at in writing, but some of this is really good. So with that being said, this next piece is a piece I call Drinks Up, and it's really just a toast to being literate and lyrical, okay? It's called Drinks Up. I want to be one of the greatest, one of the ones you want to listen to. And when you do, you're entertained and pick up a jewel or two. Lyrics that cultivate your mind to get your blood pumping. See, people say they want to change, but you never does nothing. But now's your opportunity. It's time to come up with something. But you shriveled up like a shrimp, like Bubba Gump is coming. See, with me, I start conversation. I hustle like a Jamaican. They try to railroad my story, but that's the birth of a nation. See, the government, they'll wipe their hands on the same bloody towel and they plan to reuse it. If you try and hold them accountable, they dismiss and excuse it. People ask why I go so hard. Why do I do it? America's a time bomb. I gotta defuse it. Whether rain, hail, sleet, snow, you gonna hear the best of me. Put your hands on me and you gonna feel the rest of me. They testing me, pressing me, ain't got no respect for me, but everything is A-okay, homie. I'm blessed, you see, because absolutely nothing is what everyone expects from me. So now, well, I'm able to roll low key. I'm talking under the radar. I'm an undercover brother. I drive around in a plain car. Well, okay, that's cap. I'm lying. I drive a convertible, BMW. If you ain't never rode with your top down, then that sucks for you. But let me try to stay on topic. This ain't a subterfuge. Let me take you back to school. I fired the substitute. See, understand that my wordplay is on another level. Metaphor so high that I can't even see the devil. But I'm like a music staff. I got the bass and the treble, because I'm deep with it. To stick what I'm saying, homie, you gonna need a shovel. I mean, so many different sides to me. I got more walls than an octagon. Schedule going crazy. I'm running around more than a soccer mom. See, I'm building a company that produces books, music, and a clothing line. And I got a 6 to 3, but I'm really working 6 to 9. See, I want to make you think. I'm talking brain Pilates. Now, how you say you love the hood, but how you say you love the hood while they starving and you push a Bugatti? Now, what you mean Black Lives Matter? Homie, you shooting the shotty. Y'all tearing down the enterprise. Beam me up, Scotty. See, I'm a mix between a psychological stimulator, a philosophical curator, a lightning bolt lyricist, a human defibrillator. It's bigger than rap. It's more than poems. It's deeper than that. The pressure is on. I feel the heat in my back. I got a platform and a voice, a microphone and a choice. I give my gift as a present. Merry Christmas, girls and boys. I'm nice with it. I'm about to spaz. Check out this rhyme scheme. It might leave you speechless. Have you doing that mime thing? Get on my team. This is my dream. It's a time thing, and soon the whole world gonna be doing my thing. Now, I got people sleeping on, saying that my bars is trash. I got people hating on me. Okay, now let me run that back. All right, so I got people hating on me. Say I should take all my bars and throw them in the trash. I got people sleeping on me. Sorry, guys, I don't know how to dig my way out of this hole. I have to read it. I've done it. Here we go. I got Melissa's human defibrillator. Bigger than rap. It's more than poems. It's deeper than that. The pressure is on. I feel the heat in my back. I got a platform and a voice, a microphone and a choice. I give my gift as a present. Merry Christmas, girls and boys. I'm nice with it. I'm about to spaz. Check out this rhyme scheme. It might leave you speechless. Have you doing that mime thing? Get on my team. This is my dream. It's a time thing. And soon the whole world gonna be doing my thing. See, I got people sleeping on me. Like Portland when they skipped Durant and picked Odin in the draft. Now, I got people hating on me. Take all my bars and throw them in the trash. Now I got people showing fake love. They hyping me up, and I know it's gas. And I got slick people trying to go behind my back like a no-look Ginobili pass. See, but I'm a visionary. I'm picturing things I don't even have yet. My card never declines, and I never write a bad check. But then I watched the movie Belly, and ironically, I hear the words of my man X. Yo, shut up. You ain't even put the weed in the bag yet. Okay, so for those of you that don't understand that quote, let me break that down for you. See, as Americans, we be eyeing and spying, dying, and trying to skip the process. See, but the journey is how you learn the skills to enter that contest. I got the best subliminal chemical rhyme scheme and ritual lyrics you heard in your life. What you think I'm kidding? You must not be listening. I got punchlines hitting harder than Ray Rice. It's showtime when the cam's on. My mic's on, the band's on. I got adamantium lyrics. Yours are softer than a tampon. See, I brush up, you brush off. I go around, you go across. I'm rough like a jagged edge and your lyrics are baby butt soft. See, I got an unknown, undiscovered, crazy vernacular. I'm flipping words like pancakes. Boy, I'm a lyrical spatula. A lot of people swear they know me, but I don't even know half of you. But if I make you think, that's my goal. I couldn't be happier. See, I'm the plug. Show me love. I'm blowing up. That's what's up. So if you down with all the lyricism in the world, I'd like to say, drinks up. Wow, we stumbled through that one, didn't we? Okay, so I'm gonna end it with this. Every time I am on a program, a show, anything with Miss Jaye, she always requests one thing of me all of the time, and she's always hooking me up and telling me about things to do. So because I see her lovely face, and she's always got my back, Miss Jaye, thank you for everything. I appreciate you, and I'm gonna do your poem for you. This one is called Black in America, and I love doing this because I'm Black, and this is America, so it fits me perfect. Okay. Black in America. An American Black. Not to be confused with an African American, because I ain't never been to Africa, and I dare someone to send me back. Now, that's no disrespect to my African brothers and sisters. Understand, I love you with all my heart. See, but I was born and raised in Seattle, Washington. Someone labeling me American is where it starts. Now, life for a Black person in America is never dull and full of action. But if you don't live it, you might not get it. So let me break it down like a fraction. Not all Black people are hoods and thugs. Not all Black people sell and do drugs. Not all Black people want to take your purse. Ask me what I do for a living. I work. I have a nice office. My desk is dope. The stereotypical undertones make it hard to cope. But I'm an upstanding citizen, so I keep my hope. But being Black in America, I'm walking a tightrope. See, life ain't fair, Reaganomics. Get ran up on his empty pockets. You ain't got nothing on you, he clipped and clock it. You close your eyes praying that the Lord don't stop it. Now, if I steal on this fool, then I hope he drop it. I might rob him, I'll take his hat and wallet. I'll put him on World Star and I'll make him watch it. Wait, stop it. See, it's back to reality. I'm back on the scene. Everything that just happened was all a daydream, except the gun's still present, dude's still mean. Honestly, it's taking everything not to scream. I ain't a thug, I ain't a gangster, I just got caught slipping. And if this is how I died, then Lord, please forgive him. Oh, but then I seen one time blow up the spot. I ain't never been so happy in my life to see a cop. Then the dude gets spooked and he dropped his Glock. He took off down the alley and he circled the block. I said, yo, police. I waved my hand in the air. Dude just tried to rob me and he ran down there. Then the cop swerved up, jumped out the coupe, pulled out the heat and said, hands up or I'll shoot. Woo. Boy, now I'm really tripping. I don't know what to do. Oh, but I put my hands up because my mama ain't raised no fool. And my daddy in here. Dad, you know what the deal is. David Dudley, that's my dad. We put our hands up. Mama ain't raised no fool. Don't shoot, officer. I committed no crime. Man, I'm so sick and tired of you thugs and your lines. Say one more word, I'll put 5 in your gut. Now get on the ground and keep your mouth shut. Thugs think you slick. Now what set are you repping? You on the wrong side of town with an illegal weapon. Nah, you got it all wrong, man. That ain't my gun. Why you think I waved you down and chose not to run? He put his knee in my back. He slapped on the cuffs, forearm around the neck, and now it's choking me up. And now my breath is getting short, and I'm losing my vision. And then he cracked me over the head and said, stop resisting. I could see the people panicking. Ain't coming to get me, though. But everybody got their phone out taking the video. So is this how I die? By a cop that's so smug? Honestly, I prefer getting shot by a thug. See, politicians and police all standing in unity. One less Black man means a better community. They get a paid vacate and granted immunity. And you wonder why Black people riot in mutiny? Flashback to the 50s. Oh yeah, I'm bringing it up. When they was torching Black folk and they was stringing them up. When the KKK was patrolling at night, looking for a Black face they could smash with a pipe. I'm talking kids, preteens, young adults, and old people. All they ever wanted was a chance to be equal. We hit them with the civil rights, boy, we swerved on them. Political response, hoses turned on them. Can't use the same bathroom or drink the same water. You get attacked at the lunch counter, placing an order to the back of the bus, gotta stay in your place. You disrespect a white person and vanish without a trace. See, We Shall Overcome was the song that we sing till America showed us how you wrote a face off a king. Now with no rights, no hope, you wonder what's next? Keep your hand out their pocket while they cross out an X. Now it seems like the government's content with having local enemies. And when they tried to do right, they even snuffed out the Kennedys. I don't know, man. Just seems like the law ain't nothing more than white thugs with Black slugs with a clip and a steel mat. Yo, I'm amazed that Obama's cap ain't been peeled back. We hungry for justice, boy. We stay starving. Skittles and iced tea. That's Trayvon Martin. You want to buy a cigarette? Don't ask me, partner, because I can't breathe. That's Eric Garner. Who gonna get popped next? It's just the roll of the dice. And I'd avoid swing sets rendered like Tamir Rice. Now they say it's part of the job, but it's more, we all know. And don't drop your wallet. That's Amadou Diallo. Oh, trust me, the list goes on. I'll continue to count down. Dontre Hamilton, John Crawford, Ezell Ford, and Mike Brown. Sandra Bland, Tanisha Anderson, it just ain't right. Michael Ealy, Kai Gurley, Tony Robinson, and Philip White. Woo, boy, let me tell you something. Tamir Rice was a 12-year-old Black child alone in a park. And he took one to the chest. Meanwhile, a grown white man murders 9 Black people in a church, and they give him Burger King and a bulletproof vest. Now, let the media tell it, 9 black people were slain. I mean, I find that coverage disrespectful because one of the 9 has a senator in front of his name. Now, maybe it's just me, okay? But it also seems like a very subtle attack on the judiciary. I mean, you know, knocking off a state official. See, now I'm willing to bet anything that if the roles were reversed and the shooter was black, they would have made that fool headbutt a missile. But on the contrary, the police were very nice and civil. See, now why when dealing with black folks, it's never so simple. When will it end? When is the victory won? See, American politics is built so that nothing ever gets done. So here's what I think, all right? I'm gonna shed a little light. I mean, what they doing ain't working, so something new ain't gonna hurt, right? Now, where does it end? Well, it ends where it starts. But like Marshawn Lynch, don't nobody want to tackle this beast. It's too many moving parts. I mean, honestly, just by bringing it up, some of y'all out here, you gonna break on it. But you ain't gonna kill my vibe, because here's my take on it. See now, the attack is physical, all right? But the root, that's spiritual. And if you don't kill them roots first, then any progress is minimal. You got folks who are cynical, some analytical. I understand that you're critical, so let me make it literal. It's like when you cut down a tree, you get a better view. You seeing things different. They're to say they brand new. But in a couple of years, that tree start to grow, but it ain't in your view yet, so you don't even know. But you look up one day and that tree full grew, you grab your head and say, ooh, we forgot to pull the roots. You see, the roots run deep and they don't be playing. And if you never dig them up, you better believe that they stand. Now, imagine what it'd be like if we all start praying. Instead of each other, it would be the demons we slain. You see, we buried under sin, like a bass under treble. And when you buried, how you supposed to rise to a new level? You see, we need to follow Jesus, but we follow the devil. It's like we really know that fool on a personal level. You see, we all need Jesus, but a lot of taking Satan. You can look at me funny if you want to, but you know what I'm saying. See, if we all had Jesus, we'd have love in our hearts. And that, brothers and sisters, is how you win a war on hate before it starts. Now, before I get up out of here, let me just make one thing real clear for you. This is not an I hate whites poem. It's not what it is. This is a I want rights poem, okay? And hear me now when I say this is definitely not an I hate cops poem, okay? But more of a when will it stop poem. Okay, it's a taking the truth from the bottom to the top poem. It's a stop doing wrong poem. I understand it was a long poem. I did my best to put it in some kind of song form, but it's a stop doing wrong poem. Even a Rodney King, why can't we all just get along poem? Being black in America comes with a lot of stress. Is it fair? No. Is it reality? Yes. So how do I choose to respond in the midst of all the ignorance? Simply by saying, God bless. Thank you. All of those pieces were from my book, Letters to a Blind Man, America, God, Love, and Myself, available on Amazon or my website, cjdudley.com. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. I am so glad that was recorded and you told us where we can read those, because it's like,
I know I talk fast. I meant to give that warning.
each one of those is like a feast. It's like, wow. I'm so struck by the fact that your piece, was it called Toast? What was the one that
Oh, Drinks Up.
Drinks Up?
Yeah.
That actually, we always used to have a writer's craft discussion. And what really fascinates me is that could be a whole new take on a writer's craft discussion. Well, it's more than a discussion.
I think you know, especially with that, and I apologize for everybody for stumbling through. Without the stumbles, it gives you a whole, you know, different feeling. But my goal with that piece in particular was to find the witty things that nobody talked about. Mm-hmm. How Kevin Durant is an all-star MVP champ of the NBA, but he was passed on for somebody who got out of the league that year. Using those things people don't think of and turning it into some kind of punchline. In my mind, this is my definition of lyrical brilliance, using those things nobody thinks of and make it something that matters. So that was the whole point with that drinks up piece. So.
Well, but it's also about creation. It's about you wanting to be great at what you do in your creative process. And that seems very different than sometimes we think of poetry as quiet. And this goes beyond spoken word. This is spoken passion. So
yes, and I would definitely like to say that I think, again, I want to thank Miss Jaye, because when I started writing poetry, I mean, folks don't know, I started writing poetry 5 years ago now. But I wasn't a poet. I didn't know how to do poems. What I knew how to do was write music. And I was able to translate that. That may be why I go so fast, when I say it. But I'm trying to fit into this poetry lane, but kind of create my own, because I'm a little different like that. But I thank you guys for having me.
Great. No, I'm so glad. So. Yeah, it's like I said, my brain is about to explode just because you covered so much ground so fast, but in a hooking way. I love it. Absolutely love it. So powerful. Come back anytime. Now, I believe, so many times in my writing groups, people say, well, I don't want to follow that person, but seriously, hey. That's got to be hard to follow, CJ. So I'm just checking whether I understood correctly, Minnie, that you wanted to do the open mic. I'm gonna check in. So I had put it out there to everyone, and I was thinking that Minnie had said yes. Yeah?
Yeah.
Great.
Mm-hmm. I love following CJ Dudley.
All right. Good.
Because he is extraordinary. And don't try to create your poetry to fit my style. You got your own stuff. Therefore, with the music in the background, I know you would have blown me out of the room. And I would be up dancing. Okay. Your historical narrative was really impressive. And I'm just going to bring it closer to home, essentially Seattle, specifically to a sculptor in Seattle. His name is James Washington Jr., sculptor. And in Seattle, in the Capitol Hill, was really off of 23rd and in between MLK, there is a James Washington Jr. house. It's a foundation. I wrote a poem at their last celebration, and here it is. When stones talk. Have you ever held stones in your hands, caressed them, even inhaled the earth in those stones? Perhaps you thought of fire, water, vapor, even a chisel, grinding and mixing and diffusing and freeing the spirit in that stone. Mr. James Washington romanced his stones. Sensual satisfaction, titillating feeling of void, rhythmical salvation, even restful meditation. Hands and heart building and pressing reborn life forms. Master sculptor James Washington Jr. romanced his stones. He's the messenger of Ashe, a Yoruba belief. So be it, but I have the power to make it change. With his pneumatic hammers, he created narratives and sought freedom for the young queen of Ethiopia, renewness of life in the head of Job, a wounded eagle, Frederick Douglass, Martin Luther King Jr., and the oracle of truth. His spirit is in all of his sculptured stones. Listen to those stones. Pick them up around you and listen to the stories embedded in those stones. They reveal our ways of knowing, our ways of doing, our ways of thinking and believing and acting. To know the sculptor James Washington Jr. is to hear the ancestral stories, to see the visions embedded in those stones, and we can free them. Listen to the ancestral stones. End of that poem. And the last one is called Pandemic Shoots. Pandemic Shoots. Thrusting up those writhing worms, pushing through ice, snow, broken rock, ruffling the grasses, sprouting and spreading skyward, just digging out those abrasive, isolated restrictions. Those shoots grip under, between, around, hard, unknown, those unexpected places. Those shoots align in defiant, conceding never, spreading reconnaissance to restrain those onslaughts of pandemic blades, piercing fear, anxiety, death, those shadow demics. They're sun seeker on caravan quest. Shoots thrust up, stretching for the sun like spears, heralding trumpets of saffron, yellow and cream, ever multiplying, reblooming, restoring energy against all of those unforeseen variants on the rise. Meaningful possibilities for us? Like shoots and spears, we can stretch skyward, restore energy, and rebloom. I watch the buds come up out of the ground early spring, and I saw them as examples of me and others, how they can push up stones, they can push through mud, they can dig up worms, they can spread out for yards and yards and yards, and they rebloom every year to get rid of the pandemic in our minds and in our bodies. The end. Okay.
So glad you were all able to join us, and delighted Asia has already contacted me so that we can schedule new voices. I'm always open, tell your friends. This writing series was founded for new and experienced voices. And no matter whether we're online or in person, we're a friendly place, and it's always a great place to come home to, or else to be the first place that you ever read. So this has been a really magical evening. Our next reading is on May 13th. I am going to turn off the recording so that we can chat in the old-fashioned way. So thank you all for coming tonight, and I look forward to being able to rewatch this and have it be shared on the Seattle Public Library website through their podcasts. Thank you all.